For centuries, the Roman Empire stood as the most powerful force on earth. Its soldiers marched across continents, its laws shaped nations, and its roads connected the world. To be Roman was to belong to something eternal, something invincible, something that would never die. Or so the people believed. But like a mighty tree rotting from the inside, cracks had already begun to form. The empire that once ruled from the deserts of Africa to the icy rivers of Europe was weakening, not from a single enemy, but from within itself. The emperors, once strong leaders chosen for their ability to command, had become pawns of politics and greed. Many cared more for gold and pleasure than for the empire itself. In their palaces, they feasted while farmers struggled to survive. In the Senate, corruption was no longer whispered about. It was the language of power. Taxes rose higher than ever. Ordinary families, crushed under debt, abandoned their lands. Vast fields that once fed the empire turned to wilderness. The people who once called Rome the Eternal City now muttered in frustration and despair. And in the shadows, new powers were watching. Far beyond the empire's borders, tribes the Romans once dismissed as barbarians grew stronger. The Goths, the Vandals, the Huns, names that had once caused laughter in Rome, were now whispered with fear. They were hungry, organized, and ready. And they saw the empire not as an invincible giant, but as a wounded beast. In the year 410 AD, that beast would be struck down. The Visigoths, led by their king Alaric, marched toward the heart of Rome itself. To many Romans, the thought was unthinkable. Rome had stood for more than 1,000 years. Its walls had never been breached. It was the city of emperors, generals, and gods. But the truth was simple. The empire was too divided to protect its crown. Armies were scattered, generals fought among themselves, and the emperor, young, inexperienced, and manipulated by advisors, was no match for the storm that was coming. As Alaric's forces drew closer, panic spread through the streets of Rome. Food supplies dwindled, gates were locked, and prayers filled the air. The people begged their leaders to save them. But the Senate argued, the emperor hesitated, and time slipped away. Then, one night, as torches flickered against the massive stone walls, a deal was struck in the darkness. The gates of Rome, closed for centuries, were opened from within. The Visigoths poured in like a flood. What followed was chaos. Temples burned. Statues were toppled. Gold that had been stored for generations was ripped from the city and carried away. For 3 days, the Visigoths ruled the streets of Rome. And for the first time in history, the Eternal City had fallen. The sound of those gates crashing open echoed far beyond the walls of Rome. To some, it was just another raid. But to those who lived through it, the message was clear. The empire was not eternal. The cracks could no longer be hidden. Rome's fall was no longer a question of if, it was only a question of when. After the sack of Rome in 410 AD, the empire staggered but did not collapse. Like a wounded animal, it limped on, bruised but alive. The city rebuilt its walls, new emperors rose and fell, and for decades, the people tried to believe that Rome could still endure.